Hi, I'm Joe Navarro. Welcome back to People Watching. Today I want to talk about charisma. Now, charisma is an interesting term because you hear people talking about it. Oh, so and so is so charismatic, or you need to have charisma to go into this profession or to that. And people are often mesmerized by individuals that have charisma. But when you ask, well, how do you really define charisma? They're sort of, well, we're not too sure. So there's no specific definition of charisma. We just have a sense of when people have this very positive energy, and you feel like, well, that's charisma right there. And then some people say, well, are you born with it, or is this something you develop? Well, obviously, over the last now 50 years that I've been studying nonverbal communication, and I've been asked many times, well, what are those things that stand out? So I'm going to share these with you today, and I'll share them with you because I think there's many things about charismatic individuals that we can actually replicate. Now, some of you may know this, that actually I'm very introverted. In other words, I get my energy not in groups, but when I'm with one or two individuals, and that's what I really prefer. But, you know, can I go on stage? Can I do a presentation? Of course. But that doesn't mean that maybe like yourself, I can use some of the traits of those people who we identify as charismatic to help us. And the first thing I've noticed is that charismatic individuals are always looking around. They don't bury their attention on a device, or they refuse to make eye contact. In fact, they make a lot of eye contact, and here's what's interesting. Charismatic individuals tend to make eye contact with others, even people they don't know, at a greater distance, and they begin to engage them by recognizing that they're there, by acknowledging the fact that, hey, I see you in the distance. This is one of those traits that we can all use to enhance our abilities, and it's immediately recognizable with individuals that are charismatic. The charismatic person usually greets you with their eyes. So they do that eyebrow arch and flash that I often talk about. So at a distance, they're already greeting you, they're smiling, and their gestures are always very open and very gracious. And what's interesting about them is that when they meet you, obviously they're very open to you, and their energy, you get a sense that they really want to talk to you, but they're also very welcoming of other people. So they don't isolate you at the expense of others. Charismatic individuals immediately recognize others, even though they will devote their energy and their time immediately to you. They recognize others, and then they share that time with others. So in a circle, you'll notice that charismatic people, I've seen this when I give presentations, and there's a speaker ahead of me that just wowed the audience, very charismatic. And they'll have a circle of 12, 15 people around them, and it just keeps growing. And that's one of the beautiful things about the charismatic individual. They don't keep people out, they actually welcome more into the group. So they recognize people in the distance, they greet you with their eyes, with that smile, with welcoming behaviors, and that very positive energy that you feel, because they genuinely want to get to know you. That is a huge difference between the average person and the charismatic person. A lot of people want to talk about themselves. I want to know about the people that I meet. Where are they from? What do they do? Why are they here? I want to know about them. And I think that's what makes charismatic people so special is they don't want to talk about themselves. I don't want to talk about myself. I know what books I've read or written, and I know what things I've done in my career. I want to know about you. I want to know where you come from and the things that you've done. I want to know about your family. That's the charismatic person. They always turn their attention outward, and they rarely want to talk about themselves. The other thing is the charismatic person is big on turn yielding. Lets everybody get a chance to talk. I want to hear what questions all of you have. I want to engage with as many people as possible. That is so characteristic of the charismatic individual. The charismatic individual validates what is being said. Hey, you lost a roof on your house. I can totally understand. They're very empathetic. They can read the room, they can read the audience, they can read the person in front of them, so they can very quickly adapt to the sentiments that are needed right then and there. They know what is the mood and what is the emotion that I should display here, while at all times remaining open, while at all times greeting people as soon as they come into the visual range, not just proximal range. They validate the sentiments of the person they're dealing with. That doesn't mean that you have to agree with everything that they say, but you can acknowledge what they say. And oftentimes, what we find with charismatic individuals is they know how to mirror their behaviors, what we call isopraxis, and they can mirror the words. If the person says, this has been a terrible tragedy, in fact, they acknowledge, yes, this has been a terrible tragedy. They don't put in new words or change the wording. They know how to mirror the emotions and the body language and the words of the individuals. One of the other things that's powerful about charismatic individuals is this concept that I often talk about, and it's called to agree and add. And what I mean by that is that people feel that they're part of the conversation, that things are positive when they hear you repeat or agree. Yeah, that storm was horrific. Or if you're talking about how happy they are to be there, where you say, well, I'm excited to be here too. And then you add, this is a great city. I've always loved Chicago. So you agree on what's said, and then you add. Stereotypical of the charismatic individual. They agree and add and use that for positive engagement. The other thing that charismatic individuals are really good at is touch. Oftentimes we talk about respectful touching or avoiding touching and so forth. In my book, if you have problems knowing where you can touch a person in a social setting and so forth, then just avoid it. But for the most part, you can touch people on the shoulder and say, oh, congratulations, or it's so good to see you. So haptics, the use of touch, is very important with charismatic individuals to convey how they feel. I just came from an event in New York where I was talking to several diplomats from Latin America. And it was interesting how automatically we were holding each other's arms as we talked, and we were laughing and sharing. And it just flows and contributes to the harmony in part. But it also, it's one of those traits that we associate with the charismatic individual. So those are a few of the things that you can use to enhance your communication with others. It'll certainly, I think, make you more charismatic. I always like to be around people that are interested in me or interested in others. I always enjoy people that come in with a lot of energy and a lot of enthusiasm, and those are, again, traits of that. And remember, One of the things that you can always do to make people feel better is to take a benign interest in their life, what they do, what they have to say. Be appreciative of the fact that they're taking the time to be there, to be in your presence, to ask you questions. Don't forget that proper touching is a useful tool to convey that you care, and always give people as much time as you can so that they feel valued. So those are some of the traits that I've observed over the years of charismatic individuals. I would love it if you would subscribe and share this with other people, and I look forward to sharing more with you in the future. Thank you.